And we're live, guys. So we had some technical difficulties in the last video, and because of that, we had to restart. And what we're gonna do instead is to just start part 2 of this video. So part 1 was amazing. It's gonna be its own video. This is going to be part 2, and I'm gonna explain everything as good as I can. All right, so we were talking about being pregnant and that being a long-term problem that is only solved by having nurturing. A woman needs nurturing during this time frame. She cannot nurture her own. A woman who is not nurtured cannot nurture. And if she is to receive nurturing, she either needs a lot of cash, but it's going to be from women that she doesn't know, that she's a stranger to, and who's not. Maybe she's not going to get the best customer service. Who knows? From strangers. However, in Three Girls in Love, this is perfectly solved by having her best friends not being pregnant and being able to nurture her as much as they possibly can during this time frame, because they are together creating life. The more that the best friends forever in Three Girls in Love serve each other when they're pregnant individually, because preferably they're not pregnant at the same time. Okay, if you follow the system, you're going to have one child per woman per 8 years, meaning every 2.5 years a child is born in between those three. So one of the women will be pregnant at a time, and the two others will be there to make sure that she is nurtured, that she's taken care of, that all of her needs are met, so that the man doesn't have to completely and continuously be at her beck and call continuously every single day. Guess what? Because he needs to provide. If one woman is down, she can't really work, and she shouldn't work, in my opinion. So the man is the one that needs to then go out and work to make the money so that they can survive, so that he can get the money. But also she needs him at home to take care of her, because she needs nurturing if they don't have cash, right? So Three Girls in Love solves this so perfectly, in the way that every pregnant woman gets the help and nurturing that she needs at any given time, because she has her best friends with her at all times at home. That fetus, that child, will be born healthily. Okay, nothing in that process was damaged. Okay, so that child is going to be born healthily, and then once that child is born, now the long-term problem begins. Okay, the 9 months or 10 months is the easiest part of the next 18 years while that child is being raised by this family, right? So let's talk about kids next. Kids need a lot of emotional nurturing. They have a lot of emotional needs. They need to eat. They poop in their diapers. Their diapers need to be changed, right? They wake up. If you don't have a schedule, and if you don't solve that nightly schedule and problem that a lot of monogamous couples have problems and issues with, oh, they're sleep deprived for the first 3 years of that child's life. Imagine if you have 3 children right after each other, like we did. We did the hardest thing possible. We in 2010, we had a child, and then we had another child 18 months later, and then we had another child 2 years later. So that sleep deprivation, I mean, we managed to solve it eventually, okay? But it was a huge problem in the first few years of my wife being sleep deprived, working on 30 or 40% of her capacity, because she couldn't handle it. And that's when you need to see it from that perspective of one woman, one mother is never ever enough for children. It really isn't, because that child has so many emotional needs. But do you know who else has emotional needs? The woman. She has emotional needs that need to be met. And when you have a child as a woman, you now are surrendering your entire life and your entire time, because you're a mother 24/7. You cannot take a break from being a mother except when the child sleeps. And if the child doesn't sleep very well and wakes up because he gets hungry all the time, guess who he or she desires? He or she desires booby. right? If you're a natural woman and you want to breastfeed, you don't want the child to receive formula because, let's face it, formula is second rate to booby milk. Okay, so you as a woman will desire to give booby milk to the child instead of, giving it the other stuff. So you are needed all of the time as a woman. Guess what? Three Girls in Love Polygyny solves that. Did you know that women can actually develop lactation without having had a baby? Interesting, isn't it? And it's obviously easier. I mean, there's a process and kind of a small miracle if you manage to make that happen. And I haven't seen anyone do it, okay, from personal experience. However, once each of the mothers have received children, this is the breastfeeding aspect, all these women will be able to breastfeed forever if they have a child every 2.5 years amongst them. Which means that the next time a woman has a child in that relationship, the first woman has a child and then the second one has a child, guess what? These both are able to breastfeed. These are practical solutions that Three Girls in Love solves that you didn't even think about when you're thinking about, well, I'm not interested in responsible polygyny. I just want monogamy, me and my husband. The one that you're screwing over by only believing in monogamy is yourself. Why would you do that to yourself? Understand and study Three Girls in Love and its practicality. I've gone through all of this crap. I've been in monogamy for 10 years. I know the practical applications of what Three Girls in Love can do for you, not for the man, for you and the kids. And you guys are the people that matters the most. One woman breastfeeds, the second mother now becomes a mother herself. The first mother now has milk. She can actually breastfeed the other child. And then once the third woman also has a child, they all three can breastfeed each other's children forever because they've got lactation. And suddenly you derive more ownership over a child that's not yours, but it is yours because each child has three mothers. But becoming a mother yourself obviously is so special that you just have to experience it for yourself. It's completely different. Masculine women, very masculine women, don't want children. It's too much responsibility. It's too much. I want to enjoy my life, blah, blah, blah. Feminine women, they love being pregnant and they love being mothers. In Three Girls in Love, responsible polygyny. In monogamy, she begins to resent her children very often because of their emotional needs are so intense. And whenever a child begins to cry, right, a mother immediately her brain goes and and when a child says mommy, 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 it's like the worst word for a woman to hear in the morning. Okay, realize this. And it's the worst word when there's three of them during her PMS. Do you understand all of these issues that are with kids? And this is just when they're children. Could you imagine when they start growing up? They need more food and they need more food. Every 2.5 hours, every 3 hours, they need to eat. Guess what happens if you're homeschooling? If you're a natural mother, you don't want to send your kids away to school because at school they learn stuff that you don't want them to learn. You want to take them at home. You want to make sure that they get the best education possible, and you're the one that can give them the best education possible. Trust me on this, okay? And once you come to a level where you can't teach them anymore and they might need more information from school, don't send them to school. Give them tutors, okay? So that they can learn faster than any other child in school. That's how you do it. From that standpoint, you are now giving your children the best at any given time. You're fulfilling their emotional needs at any given time. I was talking about the food aspect. As a monogamous woman homeschooling kids, 3 kids, let's say, for example, you now have to feed them every 3 hours. You feed them. Oh, guess what? You have to clean up the dishes, and then you have to cook again, and then you feed them, and then you have to now you have to clean the dishes, and then you have to cook again, and then you have to feed them. Do you understand the monotonous nature of monogamy when you are actually applying the hardest things possible, which is homeschooling, because you want to give your children the best possible education. Three Girls in Love solves this so perfectly. Women love making food as long as they don't have to do it alone every single day. My wife has been doing that for years, and she's kind of sick of it, to be honest. And she's fired up outside her brain to be in the kitchen when there's other women around. So you see, that solves that long-term problem of people in the family needing food, needing a clean home, needing, nurturing. And when they cry and hurt themselves, they get someone's attention. It doesn't have to be their mother. It could be the other mothers that are also their mothers in Three Girls in Love Polygyny. I'm explaining now practical terms. This is just kids, okay? We're moving on to the next thing now, but understand that throughout, you can see the problems if you look. What are the real problems of kids from 0 to 18 years old? And then you can look, would I have more capacity in monogamy, or would I have more capacity in responsible polygyny and Three Girls in Love? The answer is crystal clear. And the reason why you're not accepting it is because of the sexuality with the husband. Oh, I can't handle him having sex with someone else. Not even your best friend. Do you understand that? So what I'm explaining now to you is this, that it's so beautiful when you solve this problem. Hold on, I need to do something for my kids. And we're back. So that's the kid aspect. Look at the problems, look at the long-term solutions you get from Three Girls in Love responsible polygyny. The second aspect is money. Okay, understand this one. This one is awesome. From a masculine perspective, men love to make money. They're passionate and fired up outside their brain about business. Masculinity. Femininity is kind of, relaxed and I don't really care about money so much and I can just chill at home and do my own thing and blah, blah, blah. And why would you waste your life working for money anyway? Those guys think like that because they have a job. Job stands for just over broke, where the government takes 2/3 of your money. However, when you're masculine, you don't want to have a boss, do you? When you're masculine as a guy, okay, you actually want to create a business. And when you've created a business, you've solved the problem. And if you solve that problem the right way, you'll also replace yourself so that you can move on to the next project and next problem to solve that problem too. And in that way, you begin to make more and more and more money. Understand what happens to masculine men. Masculine men don't spend much because they don't care what other people think. So if they don't care about what other people think, they only think business and family. Business, family. I want to invest in my family because I want my kids to be absolutely amazing. And I love my wife, so I want to shower her with gifts and shower her with tons of money. And my businesses, I want them to grow and grow and grow because the more they grow, the more power I get as a masculine man. If you understand how that works, you'll understand that a man eventually comes to a point where he's like, you know what? I have so much cash and it's a problem. Have you ever met a man who has so much money that it becomes a problem? Why is it a problem? Because if he doesn't spend it, the government takes it all. It becomes a too much money problem. So a man who's masculine will have so much money that he doesn't know what to do with it. This is where responsible polygyny and Three Girls in Love comes in. They come in and say, thank you for the money, husband or man, and then they go out and they know what to do with the money. A man doesn't always know what to do with his money, and he wants it to be spent. If he holds it, let's say it was gold, okay? Let's say it was like, if he retains it and holds it in his basement or in his vault or wherever that he holds it, it doesn't produce anything into society. Money needs to be spent. But masculine men very often don't spend a lot of cash because it's not their nature to do so. They invest. Women, femininity, however, spends. So if you're a masculine woman, you've probably only been with feminine men. Feminine men love to spend. That's why they have financial problems. But masculine men actually develop discipline in a way that they don't spend money on unnecessary stuff. They want you to do that because you actually get a sense of enjoyment and excitement from purchasing stuff that a man really doesn't get as much as you do. Men, masculine men, have a too much money problem, and this is a long-term problem for women. It doesn't become a long-term problem for men when they've got too much money. It's a long-term problem because they don't want the government to take it all. You can help them with that by buying stuff. If you understand this from a female perspective of like, are you saying that my man is an ATM? Are you saying that my man is a money tree? In Three Girls in Love, Responsible Polygyny, absolutely. Yes, that's what we love to be, is money trees and ATMs for you. Why else are we making money? It doesn't make any sense if we can't use it all. And that's where you come in as in Three Girls in Love, Responsible Polygyny. Seriously, if you understood this concept of money and money issues in monogamy, because very often in monogamy, the man becomes feminine automatically by default because you're the one with the power in the relationship. How do you get that power? Two ways. The man is the head, but the woman is the neck. And she's been that for centuries. Ever since monogamy came into place, the woman has decided pretty much everything in the household. The only time that a man is allowed to make choices, you'd be surprised, at least today in the feminist world we're living in, the man gets to make decisions in his man cave, and he also gets to make decisions when he's away from home. Why do you think he's away from home a lot? Yes, he loves business, but when he's feminine, he doesn't really like his office as much as he enjoys being with his family because he's feminine. And guess what happens? He's basically being dominated throughout his entire life, and you both end up living miserable lives because of it. It's insane, but that's how it works in monogamy. The two ways that you get power over him: one, your emotions are so intense. So when there's something that you desire and he's kind of nonchalant about it, he doesn't really care because he's masculine somewhat, but he also has his femininity. And then you've got your masculinity and your femininity, but once you have your emotions, your negative emotions go to a certain level, you explode. So you are now masculine. You want the power. You want things to be done your own way because your way is better than his, obviously. So you use your emotions in order to get what you want. So you raise your voice, you raise everything, and you're basically forcing him emotionally now to accept your way. What is the man to do? If he's feminine, he's going to escalate this and start yelling back at you. And then you'll yell back because you escalate as well. And then he'll escalate and you escalate. And then eventually someone will submit. And it probably is the man, because this is becoming ridiculous. We're fighting over this. Like, the worst fight that me and my wife has ever had in our entire marriage was over burnt pizza. In my opinion, it was edible, okay? In her opinion, it wasn't at all. It was bad. It's toxic, okay? You're going to die if you eat that pizza. Well, it wasn't how she said it, but you understand. That's the biggest fight we've had in our marriage, pretty much. Like, that's ridiculous. Okay, like, we don't fight ever because I accepted the role of taking the blame continuously. It solves all feuds. She can yell at me if she needs to in her PMS. This happens in every monogamous relationship, by the way. So don't look down on my wife, because she's absolutely amazing. And she's probably better than 99% of the wives of anyone else out there. Okay, understand that point. But from a monogamous point of view, women and men don't work very well together when there's only two of them. Why? Because it is the job of the opposite gender to be resistant to a suggestion by the other person. If there's only two people, there's going to be one suggesting, and then the other person's job is to be skeptical. That's just how it is. But if the woman is the one who suggests something, very often in monogamy, she always gets her way because her emotions are intense. And the man's job then is to submit. Why? Because he just wants to keep the peace. Why would he want to escalate? It doesn't matter. The thing that she wants is not a big deal, but it kind of is a little bit in the beginning. You kind of want, but this way is better rationally. But then you're kind of like, okay, well, let's go with the second rate option. That's what's going on in your brain because, her emotions are intense about it. What's important to you is important to me. So I'm going to submit about it. We're going to follow a second rate path. And that's just how it is. This is how feminine men accept everything in their monogamous marriage. And when they accept everything, that's actually not what a woman's psyche desires because the man becomes defeated. The man loses his power. The man da 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 da. So actually fighting is a necessary aspect in monogamy in order for there to be attraction. It sucks. A woman now in monogamy by default is not attracted to her husband ever, as long as he makes sure that he is not fighting. But the woman doesn't want him to fight either because that creates and produces negative emotions in her. I'm talking about problems. Okay, this is a long-term problem because problems are a long-term problem. And this is how you solve long-term problems in responsible polygyny. In Three Girls in Love, the problems are solved so wonderfully because the women are three, not two, they're three, which means that when they're at home, the man is long gone at work or, doing his thing. The women now have one person who suggests, and then the other person is skeptical, right? That's her job as the opposite person if there's only two people. And then you have the third person who's neutral and can weigh in on the matter in the way that they can solve the problem themselves. If you are in a relationship, like the guys who are in poly, the guys who only have two women and not three, etc., they miss out on this principle because there's only two. There's not three. When there's two, the other person is always going to take the opposite stance in order for safety, in order for humanity to not, screw themselves over. Because if two people are very excited about something new, what if they get burnt? Because it's very possible. That's why we always need, humans are built like that, to have one person be fired up and the other person be skeptical or negative about it. You'll notice it if you have a relationship. When you suggest something and you're really, really excited about it, guess what that person is going to do? Oh, well, my job is now to be skeptical. Well, are you sure about this? And are you sure about that? And I'm not so sure. And that is the exact same thing that happens when you're fired up. Okay, so just the side thing on people's skills, whatever. That's a long-term problem. That gets solved. Okay, so we move on to the next. Well, did we really solve the money thing? The money thing, there's too much money. And when there's too much money, the man will be more lenient about what money is spent on, as long as he keeps a certain budget that the women never, ever exceed. But it's a big budget. And that's why it's important that the man has a lot of cash and that he always increases that amount throughout his entire life. That's his job as a man in Three Girls in Love, to make sure that the women always see progression. And it's a money tree, it's an ATM, and they're fired up outside their brain about cash. Going on to the last aspect, which is the sexual aspect. How does this solve a problem? We're moving it basically from the attraction point. In monogamy, a woman is not attracted. In Three Girls in Love, a woman is attracted forever. This is because of hypergamy. If you understand what hypergamy is, hypergamy is that a woman will continuously switch up her man if she finds a man who's interested in her, who she's interested in. Okay, so if a man has more power than her man, this is especially in monogamy, and he's interested in her, then she'll, as long as there's security there, she will always leave the other man that she had in the past for the more powerful man. That's evolution for you. This needed to be in place. It's a good thing. It needed to be in place in order for our species to survive. Because if a woman was like, that's how we've progressed, because people died very early, and people that there's a lot of issues going on because, you know, in the past. But now we've come to this point in time where actually loyalty is the best policy. And you want to be loyal throughout your life as a woman. But why would you want to be loyal when you've got this amazing potential, you know, that's on the it's greener on the other side. There's a guy there that's really passionate and excited about you, and he's got even more money and has more power than the guy that you're with. Why would you not leave the guy behind to go and you know, the shiny object? This is how women's psyche works when it comes to sexual matters and attraction. And Three Girls in Love solves that so perfectly. Why? Because every single day she sees another woman love her husband. She sees another woman talk about her husband. She sees another woman build up and edify her man. And when that happens, what's in your vicinity, right, is what matters. If a woman, however, spends a lot of her time, most of her time, away from her man and amongst other men continuously all of the time, and she doesn't have the other two best friends forever with her, reminding her of her man, then she's going to eventually find someone else who's better. So the cheating is going to automatically happen most of the time, unless the woman has a lot of discipline to take control over her emotions. Okay, it's a problem in monogamy when women are out working. That's why women have been stay-at-home mothers for a long period of time throughout history. Feminism brought about the other solution. This is why we get more divorces and more cheating, more etc., all that stuff. Three Girls in Love solves this so perfectly. Oh my gosh. In the home, the women remind each other. Everything that she sees in the house reminds her of her man. And then the woman speaks of her man, and she's like, oh man, it's true. He's loved by someone else, so I have to love him too. And it's not I have to, it actually flows within you as a woman naturally. And you're naturally attracted to him because there's another woman who is attracted to him. And women function that way. You've been designed that way for Three Girls in Love. Three Girls in Love is the truth that will actually solve that problem. And when you're out and about, guess what? You're always with someone because you're vulnerable. You don't want to go out. It's kind of like you going to the bathroom when you were a teenager. You always wanted someone to come with you for security, for social. And it's the same thing when you go back to your femininity in Three Girls in Love and you become vulnerable again. You'll always want to have someone with you. What does that do in terms of dissuading men to approaching you when you're outside the home? It does wonders, okay? Because men hardly ever dare approach women who are with other women or who are with kids. So you as a woman can be fast assured that you will not really be in the vicinity of a lot of men of high value who approach you and show you, I'm very interested. I'm very interested. And then you won't have to make that decision. Oh, is my man good enough or is this man a lot better? That's hypergamy for you. We've solved it once and for all with responsible polygyny. In monogamy, you'll always lose attraction for your guy. So the probability that you will find attraction for something that's forbidden, that's outside of that vicinity of your marriage, the probabilities are so high. And then you'll have to use discipline to stop yourself from doing that, which makes you more masculine. And the more masculine you become, the more everyone in your life suffers, including yourself and your health. The people who study my channel, oh my gosh, the nuggets that they get. Frick. All right, so moving on to the next aspect of sexuality. So you've got the attraction for your man forever. Guess what happens in the bedroom if you are continuously attracted to your man? Are you going to be fired up outside your brain? Let's compare monogamy and Three Girls in Love. Monogamy, you have sex with the same guy several times a week, usually, because that's what the man, needs. The woman needs approximately once a week. That's what I've noticed. And then eventually, after that 1 week, she becomes a little bit mental, a little bit issues, and becomes very difficult to be around. But if she's not attracted to you as a man, then she still won't approach. She still won't initiate. If she's attracted, oh, she'll initiate. If she's not attracted, she won't initiate, but she's also going to suffer in silence. That's why she gets attracted to other men, because she's not attracted. She's going to follow her emotions. If it's something that women follow with their emotions more than anything else, it's attraction. It's sexual matters. They need to be in love. They need to feel it in order for them to desire to have sex with you. And if they don't do it, it's kind of like, well, I kind of need it, so I'm fine. You know, do whatever you want. I'll just lay here. That's what women do in monogamy. You have the same sex again and again and again. The woman wants to experience all types of different sex positions and intensities and this and that and the other. Women are sexual creatures more so than men. Femininity is sexual, okay? Because it has to do with emotions. Masculinity is sexual less of the time because he's got more important things to do. Okay, so femininity in the right environment is very sexual. So if you understand that aspect, then you'll understand what happens in monogamy is destructive for women sexually. It's a long-term problem to not be in love, to not be attracted to the man you're with, and to not get the sexual pleasure that you deserve as a woman since you're a sexual creature. You're basically screwing yourself over for life by accepting monogamy as the rule for your life. If you surrender and let go to the aspect of allowing the man to live according to his nature, and you allow yourself to live according to your nature, that's when you will accept and notice that Three Girls in Love actually works beautifully. And the best aspect of Three Girls in Love is the sexual aspect, and not even for the man. For the man, sure, of course, he'll get his reward, but it's the women who benefit dramatically from the sexual matters. Trust me on this. If you don't, you'll know when you're in it. But you also kind of know rationally because you've seen it yourself in your life. When you see a guy and another girl is talking highly about him, you're like, oh, interesting. I'm kind of interested in him too, but you don't tell her because, you know, you don't want her to get it. So, you know, so that's how women function. It's perfect in the bedroom as well, because then you actually see it firsthand. Wow, the man actually is creating pleasure for her. That's amazing. I'm excited for my turn to come. But you're not left behind. Why? Because you've got another woman with you. You're not alone. You're together with someone. It's social. Even though the man is focused on someone else, you have someone else who's focused on you and who appreciates you. And you both notice in the back of your minds and in the side, you know, you have your eyes, you're focused on one person, but your eyes is also veering towards what's happening over there. Sexuality in Three Girls in Love for women is absolutely fantastic. You just need to understand your own nature in order for you to see it. Sexuality is amplified when another woman, which is your best friend. Very often a woman will not accept this at the first get-go because she's been trained by society, by her past background, that monogamy is the way. Yes, she is monogamous with her man, but that's the extent of monogamy that she should have. The other aspect is that she should have the two other women that she's bisexual with, and they have harmony in their relationship because the man always takes the blame if something goes wrong. And so these women now have best friends that they share their man with, not just a random woman. If you are are not in Three Girls in Love as a woman, and you haven't accepted it as a philosophy, as a system, you will think about my man having sex with another woman. Now that doesn't jive well with me at all. I wouldn't be happy with that. Why wouldn't you be happy with that? Because in your mind, you have no idea who that other woman is. She's a stranger to you. And if she's a stranger, she's not your best friend. Does that make sense? That's why you're wired in a way that I can't accept this because he's having sex with the stranger. My man, my future man. I can kind of see him crystal clear in my brain. Not really, because I don't know who it is, maybe. But him having sex, my future man having sex with another woman, well, I can't see her either. And she's obviously not my best friend. So I can't accept it. Do you understand how women function in their brains? Having sex with a stranger for a woman is not a problem. Having sex with the stranger woman is a big problem for women. Notice the difference? So that's kind of that's the sexual aspect there. What more can I say about the sexual aspect? Oh yeah, reversal. Okay, in monogamy, there's a reversal of polarity because the man is the feminine one. Who would have thought? And the woman is the masculine one in the relationship. She might be feminine in every other aspect there is in her life. But when it comes to the bedroom, she becomes the masculine one. And guess what happens? She's not attracted to him. I'm regurgitating this. But she is now also the one who struggles sexually. She struggles because it takes time for her to get lubricated. It takes time for her to get into it. It takes time for her. It takes a lot of manual stimulation in order for her to get herself going, for her to orgasm, for her to all that stuff. That's a role reversal because the man is feminine. He's the one who's all over the place. He's the one who's sexual. He's the one who's emotional. Oh, it's so amazing. And the woman is like, yeah, it's nice. Okay, yeah, I guess, thank you. However, in responsible polygyny, Three Girls in Love, what actually happens is that the roles are reversed according to nature, the way that it was designed to be. The man is the masculine one, meaning he has choice over his emotions. And it's important that he is less emotional than the woman, always. If a man likes a woman more than she likes him, she will like him less and less and less. If you like a woman more than she likes you, you have to hold that back as a man. Your emotions need to be kept back, and that allows her to now like you more. Interesting how this magnet functions. You show that you like her, oh, she's gonna pull back a little bit. But then the moment you pull back, oh, she's coming back. It's so easy when you understand it. Women are not that complicated. And men are not complicated. It's actually very simple when you understand the science. But in the bedroom, it functions the exact same way. When the man is the one who's, oh, I'm excited, I'm fired up, blah, blah, blah. The woman is going to be very laid back, skeptical, and not be really interested in the matter. But the moment he is not that interested and he instead focuses on lasting a long time and she can do whatever she wants for however long she wants, whenever she wants, she gets fired up outside her brain. But in monogamy, she doesn't because she doesn't, she's not attracted to him. Like if women could understand that. Over time, that's what happens every time. It becomes very monotonous, very uninteresting. And also because men have an increased desire for sex, but they need it less than women do. They have an increased desire, meaning that they desire it very often 3 times more than the woman. That's their semen production is causing that to happen. Even when you're on semen retention, you want it more than she does, of course. But you have to control it, and you can't control it as a masculine man, but there you go. It doesn't work very well. So, so the role reversal is she's the one who's prematurely orgasming. She's the one that gets fired up outside her brain and her emotions are all over the place into the now. You're the one that is in the past, the present, and the future of having to control yourself and making sure that you don't ejaculate too soon because that will create an issue for the other 2 women. In Three Girls in Love, you need to last long enough for all 3 of them to receive pleasure. That's a skill that needs to be developed over time. It's scary in the beginning because what if you don't last, right? The women will be very disappointed. That's a problem in Three Girls in Love. However, the moment the man masters masculinity and he masters controlling his thoughts and he masters controlling his emotions and behavior, it doesn't become a problem anymore. And suddenly the women are now the sexual beasts that they were designed to be. Okay? All over the place, intense, in the moment. This is a long-term problem that Three Girls in Love solves once and for all, forever. You enter into Three Girls in Love once. You make sure that you have a man of high value who sticks and who takes all of the blame and who has a strong financial foundation and has received a stamp of approval from other men of high value that he is the one for you because you selected him from a list of people. That's the one. Once you enter into that relationship, your sexual matters have been solved forever. Your monetary problems have been solved forever. Your relationship with the other women have been solved forever. You don't have to go back and solve the past ever again. That's the beauty of Three Girls in Love. If everyone in the world could see what I see, we would receive peace on earth in the next few months. Okay? So this is going to be a long-term movement that we build over time. This has been a long video as well. Okay? But I want you to see what I see, because if you see what I see, you'll be fired up outside your brain for the rest of your life. That will also be one of the long-term problems that you will solve with Three Girls in Love, is your excitement, you being fired up about life forever. Your happiness is the most important thing in your life. The moment you understand these principles and you get the right guy in Three Girls in Love with your best friends, the two others, you will enjoy happiness for the rest of your life. This is the Girls of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I'll see you in the next one.